When life punches you in the face, when everything feels like it's collapsing, most people let their emotions control them. They panic, they break down, they quit. But listen, emotions are temporary storms. If you let them steer the ship, you'll crash every single time. The world doesn't care about your feelings. It respects only action, discipline, and results. Pain, anger, sadness, these are signals, not commands. You feel them, acknowledge them, but you do not obey them. Control is the difference between winners and losers. Anyone can smile when things are easy, but strength is shown when you be bleeding inside and still moving forward like nothing can stop you. People will test you, life will test you, and your emotions will try to betray you. But if you let discipline guide your actions instead of feelings, you become unstoppable. Imagine what your life would look like if you stopped reacting emotionally and started responding with clarity and power. You'd stop making excuses, stop wasting time, and start building the life you want regardless of how you feel. Control your emotions, because the moment you master yourself, you become untouchable in a world full of weakness. Emotions are signals, not instructions. Too many people destroy their own lives because they mistake a feeling for a command. They feel sadness and think they must stop. They feel anger and believe they must lash out. They feel fear and convince themselves they must run. That's weakness. Emotions were never designed to control you. They were designed to inform you. They are warnings, notifications, a radar system telling you what's happening inside and around you. But somewhere along the way, people started worshiping their feelings instead of mastering them. They let anger burn bridges, fear kill opportunities, and sadness stop progress. The truth is, emotions are just data. They are not destiny. You can feel fear and still act with courage. You can feel sadness and still get out of bed and do what needs to be done. You can feel anger and still stay calm enough to make the right decision. The difference between powerful people and average people is simple. Powerful people feel everything but act on discipline. Average people feel something and let it dictate their lives. Think about it. If emotions were meant to be instructions, every successful man and woman in history would have quit when they felt tired, scared, or broken. No one would have achieved greatness because everyone feels those things. Champions feel fear before the fight, but they step into the ring anyway. Entrepreneurs feel stress and doubt, but they push through the grind anyway. Soldiers feel the weight of fear in battle, but they advance regardless. That's what makes them different. They know emotions are a test of control, not a guidebook to follow blindly. The moment you understand this, life changes. Suddenly, you don't have to obey every thought that crosses your mind, every emotion that surges in your chest. You learn to observe it, acknowledge it, and still choose the action that aligns with your mission. Let's make this real. You wake up one morning and you feel lazy. The average person interprets that emotion as an instruction. I feel lazy, so I won't work out today. But if you treat it as a signal instead, you'll think, my body feels tired, but my goal requires discipline. I'll train anyway. And that choice, that single act of ignoring the command and following the mission, is what separates progress from stagnation. Multiply that mindset over years, and you've built a powerful, unshakable life. The same applies to fear. Fear screams in your head, don't take the risk, don't step forward. But instead of obeying, you treat fear as a signal. It means you're stepping into something important, something that matters, something that can grow you. So you act anyway, and that's how courage is built. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the mastery of fear. Now consider anger. Most people let it control them. Someone disrespects them, cuts them off, says something insulting, and they explode. They think anger is telling them, you must react. But real strength is shown when you feel the fire, but you don't let it burn your future. You keep calm, you stay strategic, you respond with intelligence instead of impulse. That's how kings move. You don't let anyone else's behavior dictate your state of mind. You remain in control because you understand anger is a signal that your boundaries have been crossed, but it's not an instruction to destroy everything you've built. Sadness works the same way. Life will break you down. You will lose people you love. You will face betrayal. You will taste failure. Sadness is natural. It's human. But sadness is not a command to give up on life. It's a signal to process pain, to reflect, to grow stronger. The moment you allow sadness to become your instruction, you sink into depression and stagnation. But when you see it as a signal, you learn to endure, to keep moving, to let time heal while you keep building. That's how you rise. Every emotion has its place. They are not the enemy, they are tools. But tools are only useful in the hands of someone who knows how to use them. A knife in the hand of a child is dangerous, but in the hands of a master, it becomes art, precision, survival. Your emotions are the same. In the hands of the undisciplined, emotions create chaos. In the hands of the disciplined, emotions create strength, wisdom, and power. The discipline to separate signal from instruction is what makes you unshakable. The truth is, the modern world encourages you to worship your feelings. It tells you, do what makes you happy, follow your heart, listen to your emotions, and that's why most people are weak, broken, lost. Happiness comes and goes, the heart changes with seasons, and emotions shift like the wind. If you let them lead, you'll live a life with no direction. But when you let discipline lead and emotions inform, you become stable, focused, and unstoppable. The world belongs to those who can feel fear and still act with courage, who can feel sadness and still push through the pain, who can feel anger and still move with control, who can feel doubt and still trust the process. Emotions are signals, not instructions. The moment you stop obeying them like orders and start using them as information, you rise above the average. You become the master of yourself. And once you master yourself, nothing and no one in this world can control you. Discipline must lead, not feelings. If you live your life led by how you feel, you will never achieve anything of value. Feelings are inconsistent, unreliable, and fragile. One day you feel motivated, the next you feel tired. One day you feel hopeful, the next you feel discouraged. If you let that dictate your actions, you will live like everyone else, stuck in cycles of inconsistency, starting and quitting, dreaming and failing. But discipline is different. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't negotiate. Discipline says, this is the mission and nothing will stop it. That's the mindset that builds champions, leaders, and winners. When discipline is in control, emotions become irrelevant. Whether you feel happy, sad, exhausted, or uninspired, the work gets done. The progress is made. The standard is upheld. People always ask, how do I stay motivated? That's the wrong question. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes like the wind. One day it's there, the next it disappears. If you're relying on motivation, you'll only work when conditions are perfect. But discipline is permanent. Discipline says, I do it whether I feel like it or not. That's why disciplined people win. They train when they're tired. They grind when they're uninspired. They stay focused when others get distracted. They understand that feelings are a luxury, but discipline is survival. You cannot let comfort, laziness, or moods guide your decisions because moods don't build empires. Discipline does. Think about a soldier. A soldier doesn't wake up and think, do I feel like marching today? Do I feel like carrying this weight? No. A soldier moves because it is the mission, regardless of how he feels. That's why soldiers are respected. They embody discipline. The same applies to life. If you want respect, success, and freedom, you must act like a soldier of your own destiny. You must decide that discipline will lead you every single day, even when you're tired, even when you're sick of it, even when no one is watching. Discipline takes charge. Feelings often lie to you. Laziness tells you that resting one more hour won't matter, but it does. Fear tells you that avoiding the risk is safer, but it robs you of growth. Doubt whispers that you're not ready, but waiting only wastes your life. If you listen to those voices, you stay average forever. Discipline cuts through the lies. Discipline says, I move forward anyway. That's the power of control. It silences the excuses your feelings invent and replaces them with action. There's a reason why people admire those who are consistent. The athlete who trains every day, the businessman who works relentlessly, the creator who produces without fail. They become rare because consistency is rare. And consistency only comes from discipline. No one is consistently motivated. No one is consistently happy. No one is consistently confident. But the disciplined are consistently committed. That's why they rise while others remain stagnant. Look at anyone who has built greatness. Do you think they always felt like working? Do you think they enjoyed every sacrifice? Of course not. They had the same feelings you do. Tired, bored, discouraged, afraid. The difference is they refused to let feelings decide their fate. Discipline drove them through dark days, through storms, through years of struggle. That's why we know their names today. They were not led by fleeting emotions. They were led by unshakable discipline. When discipline leads, something amazing happens. Freedom follows. Most people think discipline is chains, but in truth, feelings are the chains. If you are a slave to your feelings, you're controlled by moods, laziness, fear, and doubt. That's prison. But discipline sets you free because it creates consistency, progress, and results. Discipline allows you to control your time, your body, your mind, and eventually your destiny. Freedom is earned through discipline. Think about it. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll never control your life. But if you discipline yourself to act regardless of emotion, you'll build habits that carry you forward automatically. Over time, your feelings begin to align with your discipline. You start to crave the work, crave the growth, crave the struggle, because discipline has reprogrammed your mind. You become unstoppable. This is the harsh truth. Most people will never reach their potential because they live led by feelings. They wait until they feel motivated, until they feel ready, until they feel inspired. That day never comes, and they waste years waiting. The disciplined don't wait. They move, they act, they execute. And because they execute every single day, they create opportunities others only dream of. Life will not reward your feelings. The world doesn't care that you were tired, sad, or unmotivated. The world only rewards results. Discipline guarantees results. Feelings never do. You must decide what kind of person you want to be. The one who acts when he feels like it, or the one who acts because it must be done. One will remain average forever. The other will rise to greatness. Discipline must lead, not feelings. That is the foundation of success, the weapon of the strong, the path of the unstoppable. If you want to win, if you want to dominate, if you want to live a life that others can't even imagine, you must kill the habit of listening to feelings and bow only to discipline. Feelings change, discipline endures. Feelings fade, discipline builds. Feelings weaken, discipline strengthens. In the end, discipline is the master key to everything you want. Winners move forward even in pain. That's the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Everyone feels pain, physical, emotional, mental. Everyone gets tired. Everyone gets broken. Everyone faces setbacks. But the winner is the one who looks pain in the eye and keeps going anyway. The average person sees pain as a wall, a reason to stop, an excuse to quit. But winners understand pain is not the end. It's the beginning of transformation. Pain is the price of greatness, the toll gate you must pass to enter the world of success. No one escapes it. No one avoids it. The only question is whether you will collapse under it or rise because of it. Think about the strongest people in history. They weren't shaped by comfort or luxury. They were forged in fire. Pain built their strength. Every scar, every wound, every sleepless night became fuel. The body wants to stop when it hurts. The mind screams to quit, but the soul of a winner refuses. That's why champions are rare, because it's rare to find someone willing to endure when every fiber of their being is begging for relief. But that's where greatness is found, not in comfort, not in ease, but in those moments where pushing forward feels impossible. Pain is life's test. It asks you, how badly do you want this? Are you willing to bleed for it, to sacrifice for it, to keep going even when it feels like your world is falling apart? Most people fail the test. They want the rewards without the suffering, the trophies without the grind, the glory without the scars. But winners accept the deal. They know pain is part of the contract of success. They don't complain about it. They don't run from it. They embrace it because they understand pain is proof they're on the right path. Pain means growth. Pain means progress. Pain means they are alive and moving towards something bigger. Imagine the athlete training when his muscles are burning, lungs on fire, body begging him to stop. The loser quits and tells himself he will try again tomorrow. The winner pushes through because he knows tomorrow's victory depends on today's suffering. Or take the entrepreneur losing money, facing rejection after rejection, doors slamming in his face. The average person gives up and calls it failure. The winner takes the pain, learns the lesson, and keeps building until the breakthrough comes. Pain sharpens him. Or think of the soldier on the battlefield, exhausted, wounded, terrified. A weak man runs for safety. A winner marches forward, not because it's easy, but because the mission demands it. Winners move forward even in pain because they know something most people don't. Pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. Pain will fade, the soreness will heal, the wounds will close, but regret will haunt you for a lifetime. Quitting when it hurts might bring comfort today, but it will cost you everything tomorrow. Winners would rather suffer now than live with regret later. That's why they're willing to pay the price others won't. The truth is, pain is unavoidable. Whether you chase your dreams or stay average, you will suffer. If you chase greatness, you'll suffer through hard work, sacrifice, and setbacks. If you stay average, you'll suffer through regret, stagnation, and wasted years. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret, those are the only two choices. Winners choose the pain of discipline because it leads to freedom, success, and pride. Losers choose the pain of regret, and it chains them to a life they hate. When life knocks you down, pain floods your body, your mind tells you it's impossible. That's the exact moment winners are made. Anyone can move forward when things feel good, but only the strong move forward when it hurts. That's the separator. That's why the road to success is empty, because most people can't endure the suffering required to walk it. The winner keeps moving, even if it's slow, even if it's messy, even if it feels unbearable. Step by step, day by day, they keep advancing, and eventually the pain becomes power. And here's the secret. The more you endure pain, the more resilient you become. What broke you once becomes nothing but a warm-up tomorrow. Pain is the gym of the mind and soul. It builds unshakable strength. Winners know that every ounce of suffering today is forging a stronger version of themselves for tomorrow. They don't run from it. They welcome it because they know on the other side of pain is a version of themselves that is unstoppable. So remember this, pain is not a punishment. It's a path. It's life asking you if you're serious, if you're committed, if you're strong enough to deserve what you're chasing. Most people fail because they turn around the moment pain shows up. But winners, real winners, push through. They understand that pain is part of the journey, not the end of it. They bleed, they cry, they suffer, but they never stop. And that's why they win. Emotional control makes you untouchable. The world is full of people who are prisoners of their own feelings. They let anger drive them into destruction. Fear stop them from chasing opportunities. Sadness paralyze them, and doubt keep them from moving forward. These people are predictable, weak, and easy to manipulate, but the one who controls his emotions becomes unstoppable. He can walk into chaos and remain calm. He can be insulted and not lose focus. He can face fear and still take action. That kind of control is rare, and that's why it makes you powerful. Emotional control is not about pretending you don't feel anything. It's about mastering your reactions so no one and nothing can dictate your decisions. Most people react instantly to every emotion. Someone says something rude, they explode. Life throws them a setback, they panic. They feel sadness, they stop moving. This constant cycle of reaction keeps them trapped. But when you learn to control yourself, when you learn to feel everything without acting recklessly, you become untouchable. Because the truth is, emotions are natural, but obedience to them is optional. You cannot stop anger, fear, or sadness from appearing, but you can choose not to be ruled by them. That choice is where strength is born. Imagine being unshakable no matter what happens. Someone insults you, and instead of losing your temper, you stay calm and strategic. Life knocks you down, but instead of drowning in sadness, you keep building. Fear enters your chest, but instead of retreating, you move forward anyway. This is what separates the strong from the weak. Weak men are slaves to emotions. Strong men are masters of them. And when you master them, you rise above the chaos of the world. You cannot be baited. You cannot be controlled. You cannot be broken. That's why emotional control makes you untouchable. Think of anger. Most people believe it's a sign of strength to explode, to yell, to fight, but anger is weakness when it controls you. Real power is keeping your composure, staying calm when others lose their heads, speaking with clarity instead of shouting in rage. The man who can stay cool in a storm always wins because he sees the battlefield clearly while everyone else is blind. That's why leaders with emotional control dominate. They don't make impulsive mistakes, they make calculated moves. Fear works the same way. Fear is natural, but most people let it chain them. They feel fear and immediately stop. But the one who controls his fear feels it and acts anyway. That is courage, not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. When you control fear, you become someone others look up to because people crave strength in uncertain times. Then there's sadness. Life will hurt you. You will lose people. You will fail. You will be betrayed. Sadness is inevitable. But sadness doesn't mean you stop. Winners control their sadness. They allow themselves to feel it, but they don't let it cripple them. They continue the mission while carrying the weight. That's why their results speak louder than their pain. Emotional control also makes you unpredictable. If you're ruled by emotions, People can manipulate you. They know what to say to make you angry, what to do to make you scared, how to keep you stuck in sadness. But when you control yourself, no one can play with you. They can't break you down. They can't push your buttons. They can't stop your momentum. You become dangerous in the best way. Calm, calculated, unmovable. That's why emotional control is the ultimate power. Every great warrior, leader, and champion in history had emotional control. The general who panics in war loses his army. The fighter who lets anger consume him makes mistakes. The businessman who lets fear freeze him misses opportunities. But the ones who stay calm under pressure, who can think clearly in chaos, they are the ones who win. And the reason they win is simple. Emotional control makes them untouchable. But make no mistake. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings forever. It means mastering them so they serve you, not sabotage you. It means using fear as fuel for courage, turning anger into focused energy, transforming sadness into resilience. It's about directing the energy of emotions toward your mission instead of letting them pull you away from it. That is the art of mastery. And here's the reality. Life will test your emotional control every day. People will disrespect you. Obstacles will appear. Pain will hit you hard. If you are weak, you will break. If you are strong, you will stay composed. And when you stay composed, you see opportunities others miss. You endure storms others cannot survive, and you keep moving when others quit. That's why emotional control is a weapon, one of the most powerful weapons you can ever possess. When you become the kind of person who is not led by anger, not chained by fear, not crushed by sadness, not distracted by doubt, then you become someone who cannot be stopped. You stand tall in the face of chaos. You act with clarity in the face of uncertainty. You keep moving when others fall apart. That is why emotional control makes you untouchable, because it makes you the master of yourself. And once you master yourself, no external force in this world can conquer you. Strength is built in silence, not reaction. Weak people think strength is about showing off, proving themselves, reacting to every insult, and defending their pride at every turn. They mistake loudness for power, but true strength doesn't need to scream. True strength doesn't need validation. Strength is built in silence, in the quiet hours when no one is watching, in the discipline to endure without applause, in the ability to control your response when the world tries to provoke you. Most people waste their energy reacting to every little thing. Someone disrespects them, they explode. Someone doubts them, they argue. Someone mocks them, they try to prove themselves. But here's the truth. Every reaction is giving away your power. The strong don't waste their energy proving anything. They know who they are, and they let results speak louder than words. Silence is misunderstood. People think silence is weakness, when in reality, silence is dominance. When you don't react, you're in control. You show that no one can shake you, no one can drag you into their chaos, no one can break your focus. Silence is discipline, and discipline is power. Think of a lion. A lion doesn't need to roar all day to prove he's king. He walks in silence, and his presence alone commands respect. That's how real strength works. You don't prove it with constant reaction. You prove it by building yourself so strong in silence that when it's time to act, no one can stop you. The weak crave validation. They need to be seen. They need to be heard. They need others to recognize their efforts. But strength is built when you work in silence without needing recognition. The nights you spend grinding while others sleep, the sacrifices you make while others waste time, the battles you fight alone without telling anyone, those are the moments that forge strength. By the time the world sees you, it's already too late. Your silence has built a foundation so powerful that no reaction is necessary. Reactions are short-term, silence is long-term. When you react, you're living for the moment, giving control to others. When you remain silent, you're living for the mission, staying focused on the bigger picture. Think about it. When you argue with critics, you waste time and energy that could have been invested into growth. When you react to every insult, you reveal insecurity. But when you stay silent and keep building, you rise so high that no critic matters. That's why silence is not weakness. It's the ultimate strength. Strength in silence also means endurance. Life will throw pain, betrayal, and failure at you. Most people cry out, complain, make noise about their suffering, looking for sympathy. But sympathy doesn't build strength. Silence does. When you endure hardship quietly, when you carry pain without needing the world to see, you harden yourself. You grow resilience. You build the kind of strength that can't be broken because you've trained your mind and spirit in solitude. Strength isn't built in comfort, and it's not built in the spotlight. It's built in silence, in the quiet battles no one knows about. Look at history. The strongest men and women didn't waste their lives reacting to every opinion or every doubt. They moved in silence, working, preparing, sharpening themselves. And when they finally revealed themselves to the world, they were unstoppable. That's what silence does. It makes you unpredictable. It makes you untouchable. It makes you powerful. Reaction exposes weakness. Silence conceals strength until it's time to unleash it. Control is the core of strength. Anyone can react, but not everyone can stay composed. The man who reacts is a slave to the world. The man who stays silent is the master of himself. And mastery of self is the highest form of power, because once you master your own reactions, no one else can control you. They can insult you, betray you, test you, but you remain calm, focused, and unshaken. That's why strength is built in silence, not reaction. And silence is not just about enduring, it's also about preparation. While others argue and waste time, you're training. While they chase attention, you're sharpening your skills. While they react emotionally, you're planning strategically. Then, when the time comes, your silence pays off. Your preparation speaks for you. Your results roar louder than any reaction ever could. That's why the disciplined rise above the noisy, because they invested in silence while the world wasted energy on reaction. The strongest people are often underestimated because they don't show their cards. They don't react to every situation. They don't need to prove anything. They build in silence, and when it matters, they strike with precision. That's why silence is not only strength, it's strategy. Reaction gives away your plan. Silence conceals it until it's time to execute. If you want to be strong, stop reacting to everything. Stop needing the last word. Stop wasting energy on proving yourself to people who don't matter. Use that energy to build, to train, to grow. Let your silence do the work. Let your results do the talking. When you master silence, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, you are unstoppable. Strength is built in silence, not reaction. It's built in the hours when no one claps for you, in the battles no one sees, in the patience to stay calm when the world tries to shake you. Reacting is easy. Silence is hard. That's why silence builds strength, because it requires control, discipline, and focus. And in the end, those who build in silence will always stand taller than those who wasted their lives reacting. Strength is not about how loud you can be. It's about how unshakable you are when the world tries to break you. Anyone can react, anyone can scream, anyone can throw their emotions around like weapons, but true warriors stay silent. They stay composed. They stay disciplined. You don't need to prove yourself to doubters. You don't need to waste your energy on critics, because the truth is, no reaction will ever change their minds. What changes everything is results, and results are built in silence. When you work in the shadows, when you grind without applause, when you endure without complaint, you're building a foundation that no storm can destroy. Silence is where focus lives. Silence is where discipline thrives. And silence is where true strength is forged. The world will always try to provoke you, but when you learn to stay calm, stay patient, and keep building, you become untouchable. Let your silence prepare you. Let your results announce you. Let your strength speak for itself. In the end, the loud will fade, the reactors will burn out, but those who built in silence will stand undefeated, because silence is where the unbreakable are made.